Get strong.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome mornings, Soul Man Surgery. It's always a Soul Man Surgery that everybody looks forward to when we have got the very inspirational James Hughes from James Hughes Coaching on. And James is going to be speaking about everything and anything that we find inspiring today, I suppose. I'm laughing because he's I can see him backstage. He's like Rocky. He's got the dressing going on and he's like getting ready to go. So here comes James, everybody.
Oh, Steve. Stephen, we just missed the best bit of the song.
Oh, did you? Oh, damn it.
Damn it,
That's
we were talking too much. Alexa, half hen.
He's got in the background Pink I Am Here, and I says, put that song on for when you come on, and it doesn't work. So there you go.
Perfect timing. Alexa, off. That's plenty.
The intro music, it really does have everybody bopping along though. Like, see, every single guest that I have on, every morning when I'm playing that, you know, the Soul Man intro music, you can see them backstage going. I don't think they
me quite
like,
excited.
You know. But yeah, it is really exciting, eh? That music.
Yeah. I told you before, it's like starting at the X Factor. It's like behind the doors in the X Factor.
Yeah. We need to have the amazing voiceover as well. Ladies and gentlemen.
So how are you?
I'm great. You're setting off people's Alexas though.
Oh, I'm going to tell them I'm sorry.
Alexa, so Kelly said you just set off her Alexa.
She's on the flow, Kelly.
Say that again.
I says Alexa's in the flow across the board now. We've got them all playing Pink, I Am Here.
So yeah, Alexa, play Pink, I Am Here. There you go. 30 Alexas across.
So we are here. We are here again. I missed you all last week.
Yeah, we had Nicola though. Nicola was absolutely lovely. She was really inspiring.
You just listened to her all day, couldn't you, with that gorgeous voice?
Yeah, she really was very lovely. And lots of people had said how nice Nicola was. 1 wee second.
No problem.
And we've got you back.
I love how you just said, though, everybody says how lovely Nicola was and then stopped. That just left so much ambiguity for me. Should I have gone on to say that they didn't want James back or that they preferred Nicola? She'll be watching. Yeah. And she's no stealing she's no cutting my grass, let me tell you.
Lots of people have said that we have to have that James, and then obviously no, she was really, really lovely, and it was really nice here to stand in and do a surgery there. And again, like I think just a different person's perspective on things, you know, because I always say this, you know, every single coach, every single person in life, we all do similar roles, but you do it your way. And I think that that's what makes it magical, isn't it? You know, we do things.
If anything, Stephen, it's like we spoke about, you know, for the get-go, it's all a subjective experience. Everything that we're going through, everything that we're living is based on our subjective experience. So my life is exactly how it is to me, but it's also not, because it's only my subjective experience to past experience. So I think when Nicola and I are very, very similar. If you speak to Kenny and Nicola's partner, they'll both say that we're the same person. You know, we literally have the same thought at the same time, but how we approach it, Nicola's so calming. I'm like, you know, and but we complement one another, and it just works. And anything she does, I'm like, right, okay, I'm doing it. Anything I do, she goes, right, I'm going to do it as well. So we're good for one another, but really bad for one another because we just get each other to spend ridiculous amounts of money on stuff that we probably don't need.
We got a few messages last week just saying how people felt really inspired by Nicola's story, how she went away and she gave herself that headspace. And I think that's actually a really, really, it really made me think as well, you know, am I spending enough time on my own? You know, do I spend enough time on my own? Because I do already. I always make sure that I'm quite solitary and I take time to sort the stuff that's going through my head. So I think that she really did inspire a lot of people. So Nicola, if you're watching, thank you so much for last week. And James, thank you for putting Nicola in touch with us and giving us her perspective on what she does. So
my pleasure. I knew she would have a lovely impact. And I think, Stephen, even I didn't see all of last week's because, you know, I had something on with my mum and dad. But Nicola probably didn't do her story as much justice as what it deserves. She's quite possibly, and was, and still is, and now in a different way, but she was quite possibly the hardest working person I have ever met. And for me to say that, that takes a lot, because I always thought I was one of the hardest working people that I knew, because I felt like I couldn't take myself away from my business. I couldn't say no to people, and that was what led me to all my anxiety. But Nicola travelled beyond belief. She was barely in the country. She was barely at home. She would sacrifice so much of her to still make time for other people. And even through all of that going on, she was still, her needs were always met by connection with people.
Mm-hmm.
On the little time that she had, the little downtime that she had back here, she would still make time for other people. And, you know, I think that connection and that love and giving back was always there. And now she's got the time and the freedom to give that to a wider audience. That's why that I know that she will be absolutely spectacular dealing with just people's needs and wants, and to ascertain how they need to change how their life is going for them. Because we're all living in this rat race just now. We're all living in this time where there's so much uncertainty. But see if you just stopped and really went within and really focused on the space, you see that there's loads of time. We just need to manage it better. We spoke slightly on the Wheel of Life the other week. It's just about really dissecting what's the most important parts of your life. And that's some of the things that I want to talk about today, is the 6 human needs. God, that flew perfectly there, didn't it? That was the intention. But it really is, and we're not meeting all of our needs. We're living our life through what we think we should be experiencing, what we think people expectations have for us are, and how we then should respond in turn to that. And it's not working because we're not meeting our needs. We're living in a time of total fight or flight just now. And Stephen, can I ask you, do you mind if I take my earphones out?
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't think it'll cut. Let's see if is that connected back yet.
Yeah, that's actually better sound as well.
Good, that's so much better for me as well. So yeah, we're living in a time of fight or flight, and it's really, breathing, all that does is it engages all the sympathetic nervous system. It's creating more stress. We're living in breath up here. We're stressing our body out. Our thoughts are going to stressful thoughts instantly. We're never actually in that space, and it really is finding that space within. Thank you so much for asking me to be a part of the meditation on Monday night, and to do 2 meditations of really focusing on what did I need to get from that to assess how good the girls were. And they were fabulous. They done so well. But for me, it was going into that space within, because I really had to switch everything else out. So rather than focusing on my breath, if you do mindfulness of breathing, if you do body scans, having one thing to focus on, I really just homed in on their voice. And it allowed me to properly switch everything off around about me. And I felt great after doing that. I meditate daily, every single day. I normally do then an energizer afterwards, and I get everything going. And these things have changed my life beyond measure, Stephen. Really beyond measure. And I said this to Ken the other day, I can't even begin to tell you how different my life feels. Nothing's different except my thinking. Nothing has changed except the way that I perceive the external world now. And sorry.
No, it's okay. See when you're talking about meditation as well, because I'm just gonna we'll hold how you view things. Don't you think that if we were now, it's my belief, my really strong belief that I do meditation in schools with kids as well, and it's my really strong belief that if we can teach children how to self-regulate and how to meditate, then what a difference their adulthood would be. I've been meditating since I was 8 years old. Not a daily practice, but I was introduced to meditation when I was 8. And then I started a daily practice of meditation when I was 15. So I've been doing it an awful long time, but it's really helped me to be able to self-regulate, to go into that space within, to be able to calm my body, calm my mind in some of the most stressful situations in my life.
Well, that
So,
space within, if you think about, you're talking about the difference from childhood to adulthood, that space within is only ever really pure and apparent all the time in a baby or a small child, because their needs are either met from when they're fed, or when they need fed, when they're needing changed, when they're needing sleep. Other than that, they're pretty content, unless you've maybe had a baby, that's had an upset coming into this earth, and that. But generally, kids reset back to innate wellness. Generally, they reset back to that space within. And that's what we need to find. We need to get back to that space within. And I think when we live in that space within, we talk about wanting to change the world. The more the world changes, the more we find that space within. But in order for it to change, we need to be in that space. We need to see that everything else round about is not working against us, but it's actually working for us. And when we talk about even working against us, that's when you're taking more than what you're giving back. If you're truly giving back, if you're truly of service, the world's working for you in every way, because it's going to bring all of that back around.
yeah, absolutely.
I had a great analogy the week, and it was it's like the mirror trying to look at itself in another mirror. It only sees the reflection that it's given out.
Ooh, like that. Yeah.
Nice, isn't it? It really, that really hit me. So that reflection back is only perceived again on its subjective experience by how it's presenting itself to the world. So a mirror can only look back in a mirror and see what it's projecting out. That really hit me actually when I heard that.
Love that. Yeah. So going back to before I pulled you down the leafy lane of like children and all of the rest of it, going back to what you were saying there with like what it had done was met your needs.
Yeah. It met my needs in that night, and I'd done a little video, I don't know if you've seen it, and I was quite stressed on Monday. And it was weird because now I didn't get upset about being stressed, because I loved that my awareness was so strong and how stressed I felt. Whereas before, my stress would just have been stress that I had to deal with. But now I was able to go back and look at my rituals and go, well, what brought me to that point? Ollie, hey, what brought me to that point of why am I feeling so stressed? And I knew what it was. There was a couple of things. I started juicing at the weekend. Nicola's fault. I started juicing at the weekend. I also had a couple of bottles of wine because it was Valentine's weekend. Kenny and I also got a couple of takeouts because it was Valentine's weekend. I've been off dairy. I had Italian food, and I thought I'm not going to deprive myself of something. I know what it does to my body physically, so I'm prepared to sacrifice that. But I forgot that on Monday. I forgot how anxious and stressed and how much it had an impact on my physicality. And all day I was like, I'm not getting anything done. I was messaging Kenny, I was messaging Nicola, saying I'm not getting anything done. I just feel like I need to get this done. And what I realised was I was living in I have to, I need to, I should do, not I want to. I want to do all of these things today. Or what I should have probably said to myself was, I want to just sit and appreciate the fact that I'm feeling pretty shitty today and I've not got really anything I have to do. So I want to give myself a bit of time today, and that would have changed my mind perception. And probably then I would have got so much more done throughout the day. But having that chasing all day of I have to, I need to, I should do. Stephen, honestly, I would by Monday night I was manic, absolutely manic, until my awareness came back and I thought, calm down. Got my journal out, wrote down all the things that happened to me that day, done a bit of self-reflection, and I was able to see all the things over the last 3 days that took me to that point. It's like the pressure cooker part. It's going to keep going and going and going and going and going until you release the pressure. My journal on Monday night was me releasing the pressure. So it's finding ways to adapt and fit those needs. It's a ritual, basically. Because you think about a time when you were really stressed out. We spoke about it 2 weeks ago when you went back to that time in your work when you had all those issues with your work colleagues. You were able to relive that experience. Your full physiology changed, your mannerisms changed, your linguistics changed. So that's a ritual that's actually taking you back to that. So if we can assess those rituals, we can change it. Because if I'm sitting there feeling stressed with my sympathetic breathing and I'm getting tight and I can instantly change that. I can sit upright. I can put my shoulders back. I can breathe deeper. I can energise myself. I can get music on. That changes everything, how I come across, and it changes instantly how I feel.
And that's been the biggest thing for me. I used to say to Kenny all the time was, I'm sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. How am I going to feel any other way? Because I'm telling myself that I feel sick and tired every day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving myself certainty in how I feel every single day by feeling sick and tired. Why would I feel energized? Why would I feel happy? Why would I feel uplifted? Because I only feel sick and tired.
I love that. It's interesting because, yeah, as you're saying it, I'm like light bulb, because yesterday I had exactly the same experience. So I was right now we're doing a lot of like physical stuff in our classes, so we're getting like lots of guests coming in and reviewing stuff like what you were part of on Monday. And yesterday I had stuff to send. People weren't responding, which was causing me a bit of frustration because I couldn't send stuff out without people first responding to me. Then I had loads of reading to do for my course, and I thought, right, I've got 3 hours to do that, so I'm going to sit and I'm going to do all the reading. It was all about anorexia, bulimia, and eating disorders, which is a really heavy subject.
Absolutely.
And also self-harm. So I start reading, and then I got an email saying, "Hi Stephen, can we move the time of the class to 7 o'clock tonight?" So then I'm thinking, I've got all this reading to do and I can't get the work done. And I was just in this state of like, I was way up here. And actually, I'd caused that stress for myself by telling me I need to get this done.
Yeah. So need. If we spoke about the avoidance of pain and suffering and the pursuit of pleasure, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you go with a need, that's avoidance of pain.
Mm-hmm.
When you go with I want to, that sends neurosignals to your brain to let your brain know that, see, at the end of this, there's going to be something good.
Yeah.
So even if you feel you need to do it, but if you instantly change your language of I really want to do that, you change your physiology. I really want to do that. That changes your brain to go, there's going to be something good from this. I really want a custard cream. I'm going to feel good.
Mm-hmm.
I really want a fag. I feel good. I can't get a breath. I really want a fag. It creates that signal. I don't smoke, by the way, but it creates that signal to the brain that you're going to get some pleasure from it. So therefore, it creates that habit. So if you change your linguistics in things that you really want to do and don't want to do, so even the things that you're going, oh God, I just love ice cream. Well, of course you're going to love ice cream because you're sending neurosignals to your brain to love ice cream. But if you can associate enough pain with ice cream, you're starting to train your brain that you don't need ice cream. So you think about the anxious state that you've done just by your choice of language. It wasn't that you had too much work on because you're more than capable of doing it. It wasn't that time was running away from you because there was 24 hours in a day and you had all the time to plan it. It was your choice of language that made you stressed. So we work in feelings impact your actions. Sorry, thoughts impact your feelings, which impact your actions, which shape your life. If you work on a feelings and actions basis and try to change it at that point, it's too late. Can't change it because you've already created momentum through it. You've already created emotion through it. If you access it at the thoughts process and you go, okay, I really want ice cream. No, I don't. I'm saying I really shouldn't have ice cream. I don't really need ice cream. I'm just being greedy. That changes the thought of it before the feeling and the action is actually come into fruition. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're all so guilty of falling back into that trap, no matter how much we try. That it's a constant thing, isn't it? We're never always going to be perfect. We always have to remind ourselves,
Well, do you know though? In many ways, yes, and in many ways, no, because we were born perfect. We weren't born with all of these habits. We weren't born habitually looking for things to feed us, and we feed our brain rather than our body because we're all emotional. We smoke because we think we need it. We drink because we think that's going to dull the pain. We weren't born with a tub of ice cream and a fag and a pint in our hands. We were born well. Imagine.
I'm a really visual person.
So
I just seen a little baby with a fag in their mouth, a pint of beer, and
that'd be a cool wee baby.
Very unhealthy, wee baby, but
Very
cool.
unhealthy. That'd be cool coming out. We skip cap on.
Sounds like something out of Family Guy, actually.
So we can change our association with things, and that starts to change our belief system, which then has an impact on our values and stuff that we spoke about before. You know, your beliefs and values, are they balanced? Because people think beliefs and values are one thing, but they're very different. If your belief system is that you should not put unhealthy food, I should be very healthy, I do yoga, I meditate, I love my body, but you're feeding it pizzas every day, your beliefs and values aren't right. Now that's just your subconscious mind again. That's not anything bad, because that's me. You know, I self-sabotage with food. I have done for so long, but I'm working so hard to change that relationship with food. I was in the gym at 6:30 this morning with Kenny, you know, and for me, that's like a turning point again to get back into exercise, to get back into juicing, to feel like, so when I'm having a juice, I keep telling myself, I'm putting so much goodness into my body. Because I feel good, I feel cleansed, it makes me feel great. But if I'm putting chocolate in my body, if I'm putting pizza in my body, if I'm putting all these things in, yeah, in instance, I'm getting pleasure from it, but I know I'm going to feel shit at the end up. So why not swap that? Why not start telling yourself how shit you're going to feel if I have this? God, that really makes me feel unhealthy. Create leverage in your choices. Because when you create leverage in your choices, you create change in your so that's your feelings and your actions part. You're creating the leverage in the feeling. You're creating the difference in action. That makes sense?
And yeah. It's funny because we were actually speaking about this in our wellness hub. I did not realise how many foods I don't like, right?
How many foods you don't like?
How many foods I don't like, yeah. And I hate olives.
Oh, I love olives.
Olives are like the devil's spawn for me, right? Prawns, lamb,
Prawns.
all of these things. But see, when I actually think about it, I've not had them since I was a very small boy. I've not even put them in my mouth. I've not tasted them. So is it that I don't like them, or is it that I'm telling myself that I don't like them?
100% you're telling yourself you don't like them. I mean, there will be a taste that you don't like, you know, and that's absolutely allowed. You can't sit there and, you know, I hate capers. I don't like the texture of capers. So I'm not going to sit myself and go, oh, I love capers. That would just be ludicrous. You don't have to have that. But, you know, when you instantly become dismissive in something, I don't like that. 9 times out of 10, that's purely because you've been conditioned. You've conditioned yourself, or you've been conditioned by your environment, or you've been conditioned by people in your life to tell you that you don't like it. So you're probably somewhere in your mind, your subconscious mind has been trained that you don't like prawns, you don't like olives. Maybe it's been your mum, maybe it's been a friend when you were really young who was sick. When I was younger, I had this is a funny story. I can remember sitting watching, you remember Nickelodeon?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was sitting in my bedroom on a Saturday night. It must have been January, February time. It was early. It was about 4:30 because it was dark. I got a cheese pizza from the wee local takeout shop, and I was projectile vomit afterwards. Now, I then had a neuro association with watching Nickelodeon in my bedroom when it was dark, eating a cheese pizza. I anchored all 4 of those things, and it put me off all 4 of those things. Now, Stephen, I'm clearly very greedy because pizza is my favourite food in the world. But I conditioned myself that I wouldn't sit in my room eating a cheese pizza, watching Nickelodeon when it was dark, because I was going to be sick. And that stuck with me for a long time. I wouldn't eat a lot of foods in the dark. I wouldn't sit in my room myself at certain times of the day because I was conditioned to believe. Now, my mum and dad fed that. They absolutely fed that. Oh, come on down, sit down here. Whereas, you know, they should be saying, there's nothing wrong with you, you're fine. That was just a one-off, you know, going back up to your room, you'll be absolutely fine. But I was pampered to in that instance. And that memory is as clear in my mind today as it was when I was 8 or 9.
Mm.
So that's how strong a neuro association comes. That's how strong an anchor sticks with us.
Yeah, it is a massive thing. I think when we really think about all of the things that we tell ourselves that we don't like, that we've probably never tried, probably never done for a long time. You know, I don't like exercise. Actually, I do like exercise. You know, and that's the thing I've learned over the last 3 weeks. I would be telling myself, I don't like exercise. This is how it makes me feel.
Yeah.
It makes me feel shit.
Yeah.
See, when I'm doing it, see, when I'm pushing myself, I'm like, like yesterday I had PT and I honestly wanted to vomit the whole way through the whole thing, because I push myself so hard when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But see, after it, I'm like, wow, I feel amazing.
Yeah. Kenny and I done a plank challenge this morning in the gym, and he's got a wee GX group thing that every week he does a challenge for people. And we'd done an upper body workout, and my arms were tired. I'd done body combat last night, my arms were tired. I'd done HIIT in the morning actually, so I was shattered today. And we'd done all the upper body stuff. He says, let's do the plank challenge, and that's it out the way. So he sets it within a 2-minute parameter, the most you can do within that time. So yesterday I'd done 140, I think, and Kenny's normally 2 minutes because he's just a show off. And this morning he got just over a minute, and I still stuck to my 140. Now, Stephen, I was shaking beyond belief, but my focus was so determined that I know I can do this. It wasn't I'm going to fall, I'm going to fail. I was like, I know I can do this. And even more so, I didn't realise how competitive I was until I started training with Kenny. Because the fact that he fell at 1, I was like, I'm doing 2. I'm going to show you up, sucker. So all it was a thought. There was nothing had changed. My physical capability hadn't changed. I could probably have done it a year ago, but I just wouldn't have been telling myself that I could do it. But this morning I was like, I know how strong I am mentally, and the physicality part will follow. So change what's going on in here and get it at that thought process. Because if I'd allowed it to go to the feeling and the action, I would have shook and I'd have collapsed. That's the feeling and action. It's too difficult to change it. Change the thought of that plank. I can complete the 2 minutes. 95% of everything is mindset, 5% strategy.
Yeah.
And I think, I know you speak to Susan on a Friday, and I love listening to her because I think she comes from such a logical view of everything. And I'm like, she inspires me really so much when I listen to her. And I know I'm a bit like, what? Just do this, just do that. But you know what? You kind of have to have a bit of both. Everything I say comes from a sense of logic, but it comes from a bit of energy. And I realised that sick and tired of feeling sick and tired was a choice that I was feeling sick and tired. If I choose to be energised, if I choose to put music on and make myself energised, I can change my physiology. I can change my state in that instance. And I can then project something with more energy, with more belief, with more substance, because it's coming from how I feel. I've already accessed the thought element of it, and I'm now putting feeling into it. It's energy, it's positivity, it's happiness, it's contentment, it's all of those things that I never thought I was. I didn't think I was creative. I didn't think I was energetic. I didn't think I was as passionate as what I was. But it was all there. I just had to access it.
And there's proper science to that as well, James.
100%.
See when you have that very upbeat, wow, I can do this, you actually change the vibration of your cells. So it's interesting, people will say things like change your vibration, and changing your vibration, it has real science to it, because when you bring yourself out of that way of like, I'm crap, I'm this, I'm that, and bring yourself up there, it changes your vibration. Your cells start to vibrate on a very different level.
Yeah.
And you move through things so much easier.
100%. Well, we spoke the first week about quantum physics. When you go down to that subatomic level, everything's made up of a subatomic level. So you vibrate at a great energetic level, you have an impact on every single state, every single thing, every single person you come into contact with. It bounces back. What you give out, that mirror, looking at itself in the mirror, it's a true reflection of itself. It's only what you're putting out there.
It's interesting. It's probably one of the most fascinating subjects that we could speak about for hours and hours and hours and hours. I remember I was very lucky to a few years ago, maybe about 8 or 9 years ago, actually meet Louise Hay.
You met Louise Hay?
Yeah,
oh my God.
I met her.
I'll go down and kiss your toes next time I see you.
Not at all. Don't be that. But I remember being really, really inspired by Louise, and I actually met her first and then read her book.
Amazing.
And she'd said to me when I met her, she says, "You need to read my book," because I was like, "Who are you?"
Oh my God, Stephen. That's blasphemy.
She's like, "You need to read my book. It's called You Can Heal Your Life." And I was like, "I will read it," because I found her really, really inspiring. She had this amazing energy, even though she was very elderly when I met her. Really slim, frail wee lady. Her energy was absolutely massive. And I read her book and I was like, I want to meet you again. I want to talk to you about your book again. And then sadly she passed.
Yeah.
But in her book it talks about how like looking in the mirror and saying, I love you.
Mhm.
And, you know, kiss yourself. You know, you should love yourself.
Well, you know, kissing yourself, doing these things, that's a physical anchor.
Yeah.
I love cold ears, right? I am obsessed with cold ears. Dog ears, human ears, I love them. And that's an anchor for me because it's an anchor of comfort. And if you can kiss yourself and you can love yourself and you can do those things, that instantly has a massive impact on your physiology because you're creating that anchor. So the moment that you're feeling pretty shitty, pretty down, pretty lousy, I love myself. I love you. Speak to yourself and you know, not as you, but speak to you. You're beautiful. I just love you.
Yeah, because how many times do we not do that though? You know,
You don't.
it's a very odd thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah. But why? You know, why is anything odd if it feels right? Why is anything odd because someone else does it? Well, that's all concepts that we are putting on ourselves. Relationships. Well, what's a relationship? It's the concept of relating to someone else. You know, money. What is money? It's a physical exchange of energy. That's what money is. You said this before to me. It's, you know, a job. Well, what's the concept of what a good job is to you or to someone else? A job to you should be something that fills all your needs. It gives you. In fact, we start talking about this because this is a big part of what I wanted to speak about today. Was the 6 human needs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, back to that actually.
Yeah, back to that. We've already spent 35 minutes talking about anything and everything. So the first human need is certainty. And certainty is all about, well, it's exactly what it is. What, sorry?
I'm taking notes.
Okay.
Yep.
So you need certainty in your life and everything you do. Now, for anything, so this is from jobs, from relationships, from friends, you need these 6 human needs to be able to connect and feel like it fully fits with you. So we've all heard when you're in flow. Well, when you're in flow, that's because you're in sync, you're in that space within, and all of your human needs are all being met. So the first one is certainty. Now I'm going to refer back to my past experience with certainty when I told you before about the anxiety that I suffered, and I was convinced I had cancer. I thought I was having a heart attack. I thought I was having an angina attack. Now, for me, I was looking for certainty in all those things because then it made the feeling real. But when you ask loads of questions, all you do is create uncertainty. So you're totally going against what you need. Right now, I need certainty. So I need somebody to tell me that this is how it's going to be. This is how I'm going to live my life. I'm going to survive. I'm going to get through this, whatever it may be. But the more questions you start to ask, the more uncertainty you start to create. So you create upset in the certainty.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the ironic thing is, the second human need people need is uncertainty. So when you think about certainty in a relationship, you've had a bad relationship, so you now meet, you're looking for your new partner, you want somebody to love you, you want somebody with a good job, you want somebody with money, you want somebody with a nice house and a lovely car to love you, to look after you. Certainty. These are all the things you want because you believe that that's what a good life will lead to. Well, these things will lead to a good life. Then what happens when you're in that relationship and you have all those things? You're looking for uncertainty because you're bored. You need diversity. You need excitement. You need something that is not the same. So you need uncertainty. So the first two are a total paradox within themselves because one can't exist without the other. But yet when you allow the uncertainty part to overtake the certainty, when the boredom kicks in, that makes your values and your beliefs, are you living your true values and are your actions reflective of that? Because if you're in a relationship where you're bored in, chances are you might go and cheat. You might leave. You might sabotage that relationship because you're looking for what? Uncertainty, excitement, diversity. So you actually need both to marry one another up. So the certainty element, you have to think of, well, what's the things I need? Okay, I need a partner who loves me, has a good job, that's fine. They're all certainties. But the uncertainty, I need excitement. I need adventure. I need travel. I need all of those things. So you find that balance within that relationship. So you don't sacrifice one and need for the other. Make sense?
Yeah.
And then your third.
I didn't think that uncertainty would be the second one, so that's really, really interesting. Yeah.
But uncertainty, Stephen, comes with so much positivity because you look at it. How do you challenge yourself? When you challenge yourself in an uncertain state, if something seems too easy, that's certainty. If something's difficult, going to the gym, you're creating uncertainty because you've associated more pain with that experience than what you have done pleasure. So there's so much uncertainty. So what your brain, your body's telling you, to do that object is going to be more painful than being heavier, than staying in the state that I'm in, than being in the relationship that I'm in. So you've associated more pain with change than the state of pain that you're in just now.
So really, like the first two of the 6 human needs really are all about balance, because it's like anxiety and stress. We need anxiety and stress to stay alive. However, too much of that comes and it's daily isn't healthy. So again, it's just layers upon layers of the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah. So that anxiety and that stress, well, how do you balance that out? Because that's all uncertainty as well as certainty, because you're looking for certainty in that moment. You're looking for this is going to happen. So therefore your brain is associating enough pain with not changing it, because anxiety and stress will stop you from progressing forward. They don't want you to move forward. Your subconscious mind is trying to keep you safe by creating this anxiety and this stress. So you've associated enough pain with that potential experience. So therefore you then in turn create uncertainty. So again, it is that paradox of both.
Yeah.
Then the third one is significance. So your significance is your need to feel needed. We all need to feel needed. Now that can be a complete detrimental effect to yourself, to others, to anything round about you. But if you look at someone who would create violence, you hold a gun to somebody's head or a knife to somebody's throat, you're significant in that moment. So your need to feel significant in that instance can turn you on a downward spiral of violence, adultery, any bad association. But if you have significance in your life, if you have significance given back to the people around you, then that's filled. But if you've never had any significance in your life, you can kind of understand why people then go down other paths, because they're looking for significance. And we've all heard it, any publicity is good publicity. If you're getting any attention, it's good attention. If you're getting any significance in your life, you're accomplishing something, you're creating significance in some way. And then it is interesting. I suppose it's the significance then from a positive element can come from many ways as well. You look at sexuality. We're in a time just now where people are, you've got non-binary, you've got, I don't even know the full LGBTQ collection now. But we're all trying to find significance because the world is moving so fast that we can't keep up. So we need to find significance. We need to find individuality in whatever path we choose to go down. And that's across the board. That's relationships, that's sexuality, spirituality, jobs, all of these things. But the fourth the fourth human need is connection and love. Now, the ironic thing with that is when you're trying to find individuality and significance, how can you make connection?
Yeah.
It becomes very difficult to make connections when you're so specific in your individuality, when you're so specific in your sexuality, when you're so specific in your style, your fashion, because we're all making judgments. We're all peacocking in some way. So that mirror again, what you're putting out there is exactly what you're getting back. If your individuality is so niche and so narrow, you find it very difficult to create connection. And when we think about connection and love, from a negative perspective, again, you think back to that person that's turned to violence and is holding a gun, is holding a knife. That's the same thing. That's connection.
That's interesting because I remember really clearly before I met my wife, and I was very much in this place where this is who I want to meet. This is who I want to be with. And I had this very specific idea of someone. And then actually when I changed my thinking, because I was never really finding the right person, I was like, I was dating quite a few people, but never really finding anybody that really made me feel happy. And then I actually changed my perception and just said, do you know what? Fuck it. I
And
want
then what
someone.
happened in that instance? All your
Yeah,
needs were met at that point. You had certainty, you had
yeah,
uncertainty, you had significance, and you had connection.
yeah,
When you're
and
dating multiple people, yeah, absolutely. And when you're
yeah,
dating multiple people, you're not getting that connection. You're not getting that significance because they're probably dating multiple people as well. So where are you significant in those multiple dates? Where
yeah.
is the certainty or uncertainty in this potential new partner? There's none. Because the uncertainty is the scale, the uncertainty is he or she is off pumping everybody else. But actually, I'm looking for a bit of connection. I really need connection.
It's interesting because those human needs, they are actually in there and they're innate within us all.
100%.
Those,
We can't function, we can't be in flow without all of those. Stephen, I'm sorry, I keep speaking over you, but I think sometimes there's a delay in the voice.
there is delay, yeah. That's okay though. That's cool. It's fine. But yeah, you're right in what you're saying. It's they're all innate within us. It's actually realizing them. I think is the key, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, think about why people have pets. They create certainty that they're going to live forever, or they're going to love them forever, they're going to love them for all their life. They've got uncertainty in that moment because they're creating challenges, they're creating what's my life going to be like with it, how am I going to look after it. They're creating significance because that pet is going to love them more than it's going to love themselves. And they're creating connection and love.
Mm-hmm.
So they're getting the 4 fundamental human needs met. But then the last 2 are the most significant. These blew my mind when I heard all of these. Because the second last one is growth. And if you're not growing, you're dying. You know, the law of life is everything grows or it dies. In a world that's moving so fast, in a world that's evolving and changing so much, we have to grow and adapt to that. But we have to grow ourselves. We can't just adapt to what's going on around about us and stay stagnant in the position that we're in. So we have to be prepared to grow. We have to be ever growing. We also have to change. We have to be looking for ways to stimulate our minds, to change us as a person, because you're not the same person you were when you started meditating at the age of 8. I know I certainly aren't. Do I regret being the person I was when I was 21 or 23? Absolutely not, because I loved that person in that time. Would I want to be that person now? Completely not, because I've grown from that. So people can say that they can't grow, they can't learn, they can't change. Well, you are. You're always changing. Every cell in your body is always changing. The environment around about you is always changing. Your thoughts are always changing. So when your thoughts are always changing, you're always changing. Because external factors will create that feeling and action element where you latch onto the thoughts that are relevant at that point. If you forgo all of those thoughts and all of that drawback and holdback for your progression, you start to grow naturally. You look for ways to be inspired. And also when you've got your certainty, your uncertainty, your significance and your connection, when they're imbalanced, well, you need to grow. Because if you've got all of that from somebody else, if you're in that concept of trying to relate to someone else, you have to grow as they will as well. We'll both evolve. And then the last one, the most important one, is the need for contribution. Now, you said to me this morning that people don't realise how much this Soul Sunday is happening. Soul Sunday, I think you're Oprah Winfrey I'm talking to here. You get a car, you get a car, you all get a car. But you know, the Soul Man surgery is touching people. It's making me so excited and so enthused for a Wednesday morning to come on with better and more stuff that I can talk about, because I realise how much it's helped me as well as giving back. So that's the give more than what you receive. And actually, it doesn't happen. You give more, you receive an abundance of more. Not just in financial gain, but energetically, emotional, friendships, relationships, connections, growth, certainty, uncertainty. All of those things are fulfilled when you start giving more, when you start contributing to your environment round about you. And that can start from something simple, like your partner. No, rather than constantly moaning about what they're not doing, what are you contributing to this relationship? Is your significance so high that you think you shouldn't be given more than what you're receiving from that partner? Because if you are, you need to change it or you need to end the relationship. Because you're not in flow. And when all of those things start to sit in flow, my God, like your life and your mind changes at an exponential rate. It doesn't happen throughout time. It happens like that. It instantly changes everything round about you because you change with it. You grow with it. You contribute more.
I'm thinking that there's many people sitting here watching this right now, like gobsmacked by that, because see those fundamentals, that is just mind-blowing stuff. But actually, it makes sense and it resonates, and I'm sure it resonates with every single person watching this.
It resonates with me even talking about it. I always think that what we do, Stephen, is sorry, I'm going to say this and you can say.
Okay.
I always think what we're doing and what we want to do, and everybody in life does, it's like asking for directions.
Mm-hmm.
You give somebody else the directions, but you learn the path more yourself. The more I tell this, the more I talk about this, the more it becomes more ingrained. It goes deeper. It's in that space within that I can sit back and access it any time. People constantly message me on social media when I do a wee video and say, this is just what I needed today. And the first thing I always reply to them is, it was already there. You just became aware of it. You didn't hear anything that you didn't know. You just became aware of it because it was innately inside you. It's innately there. Sorry. What were you going to say?
You're right in what you're saying. It's like you're helping people to harvest those golden nuggets within them that are already there that they can relate to because it makes sense to them.
Yep.
And point 5, that was probably one of the most powerful sentences that I have ever heard in my entire life. And I've never heard it, and I'm surprised I've never heard it. But this is that what I love about, you know, speaking to people like you. I'm always learning and growing myself, and that is, if you're not growing, you're dying.
That's a Tony Robbins quote, and that blew me away when I heard it. Yeah,
I'm like, I've got it there, and I'm like, I've got it. Like, oh my God. Because how many times do we get comfortable and we sit back and we're like, oh, I just can't be bothered, and I can't be bothered doing this, and I can't be bothered doing that. We're always growing. We're always pushing ourselves to grow and change and develop. So that statement for me, that is mind-blowing stuff.
that's good.
So thank you for that. That's really, really blew my mind this morning. So we've got 10 minutes left, James. Well,
have we got questions?
We've like blathered for ages, but we are going to throw out questions now because obviously we need you guys to interact with James, and James needs to see your interaction as well. Contribution, point 6.
Contribution, there you go. Stephen, can we not do this for an hour and a half on a Wednesday?
We could. Right, okay. So I'm just going to look at the comments. I'm going to try and pull out the ones I think are making sense. What we spoke about. So interestingly, Lindsay is saying that she has hypothyroidism, and I've been doing boot camp 3 times a week. Nothing is changing. I've been telling myself, even though I'm exercising, I'm blaming it all on the hypothyroidism. My language definitely needs to change. This makes perfect sense.
Lindsay, can I give you a suggestion? And this is something that I had started doing a while back. I was never a morning person. I had a call with a client yesterday, and we were talking about how she defines herself as a morning person. So it's going back to that associating yourself as a thing. So when you associate yourself as something, you are that thing. Sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, association. When you then start to change that full anchor system, you start to change that thought process. You start to change the questions that you ask yourself on a daily basis. Because 9 times out of 10, the questions that I was asking myself before were avoidance of pain. Oh, I don't want to exercise today. Oh my God, I'm going to get stressed out and have got so much stuff to do. Oh my God, I've got a full day of clients. Change yourself, change your thought process in the morning, change the questions that you ask yourself first thing in the morning. Things like, what would make today great? How can I be thin and really enjoy exercise? How can I find ways to consume only healthy, nutritious value foods while still really enjoying them? How can I make my workload more manageable today while still feeling at ease, while still being at flow? Now, the questions aren't going to be asked. Don't ask your partner because he'll tell you to chase yourself. But if you ask yourself, you'll find the answers. You'll find ways, Stephen. You just said it. You know, you're doing the exercise, you're telling yourself this is horrific. How many times have you told yourself this is horrific? And then when afterwards, God, I feel good. Could you imagine if you went in and going, oh, I feel great doing this. Yes, yes, yes. Scream, get the physiology change, do all that thing that makes everything so different that it becomes enjoyable. That's not going to happen once. That's going to happen through a process of habitually retraining your mind, getting your nervous system to interact with you rather than that telling you what to do. So if you start to ask yourself, what is it?
I'm going to do that. See, when I'm at PT on Saturday, because I'm PT twice a week, I'm going to be there on Saturday, be like, oh my God, this is amazing!
Stephen, do you know what I do in the gym? By the way, I'm watching this. My partner has a gym, just in case you think I'm going to some underworld black market gym. I love RuPaul's Drag Race, right? I feel so inspired watching RuPaul's Drag Race because of the confidence that these boys have through all that they have probably gone through in their life to accept sexuality, to accept that they are maybe not in the right body in many aspects, or to accept that they can be truly themselves and authentically free when they dress up in makeup and drag, and not to mention that they look absolutely spectacular. I put music like RuPaul's Drag Race on because I feel inspired by those boys that do that. Not because I want to be a drag queen, but because I want to be inspired by their motivation. I associate how motivated they are, how the self-belief, the persona that they take on when they put that face of makeup on. So that music for me is my face of makeup. That music for me is my power suit. That's my armour. Now, let me tell you that these things weren't always how I operated, because my old operating system was, I can't do that. I'm not strong enough. I'm too weak. I feel sick. I'm too tired. I had all of those labels on. I had all of those suits of armour on. But strip all of those labels back and start to create a new suit of armour and start to envision yourself doing it. Get music on that inspires you to do that. Have conversation that inspires you to do that. So change your thought, change your language, change all of your association. But the most important thing, ask better questions, you get better answers.
Interesting, because see, you're talking about like jumping into that suit. My hair was a big thing for me, you know. So even though people seen me as someone who's very inspiring, my hair was probably the most crippling thing that I had to ever go through in my life, was losing a big part of my hair, and then changing that and having hair now. What a difference it makes to me. You know, it gives me confidence. It makes me feel inspired. I suppose that's my confidence suit.
Totally.
I feel that I'm much more able to speak to people, and it's really changed the message that I tell myself. Because I used to get up in the morning and look in the mirror and go, oh, fuck, look, you know, there's more hair missing, and I've moved the hair to the side to try and cover the patches. Whereas now, I'm like, how you doing?
Change perception, isn't it? It's that reflection back in the physical mirror. You know, you're reflecting back to that. I mean, I'm the same. I'm going to be a bit thin on top, but I'm learning to accept it. I know I want to get a hair transplant. I really want to get a hair transplant, but I'm trying to love the hair that I have. You know, I'm this side of 40 now, as much as I hate seeing these words, but I'm really lucky. You know, I've got a good head of hair. I'm not grey. I've still got thickness to it. I've got density. I've also got a great head of hair that when I go for a hair transplant, I've got enough density to have a good transplant. So I'm like, how can I be negative about it? It's aging, and I want to embrace, I want to love, and I want to enjoy all of the ages. I don't want to think I don't want to be old. I want to be fucking old. I want to be old and experience old age. I want to have the mindset to be healthy and to be happy and still set myself challenges and still feel like I'm getting the certainty and uncertainty and all of these human needs met, still pushing myself, still driving forward. But I want to do that and live in a full life. I don't want that to stop.
Yeah.
You spoke about the client who used to come in and ask just to sit because she loved being around that energy. I'm sure if you ask that woman now, she would want to experience every age and grow gracefully and appreciate the grey hairs and appreciate everything that comes with aging. I want that. That's what I want. I want to experience that. God, I feel like crying now.
It's true though, embracing every single stage of life, I think
Absolutely.
is a big part of it, isn't it? You know,
Totally.
maybe people are like, "Oh my God, I'm coming up for 40," and I'm coming up for 42, and I'm thinking, how am I going to cope being 40? And actually, I'm going to cope really bloody well. I'm going to enjoy every single moment of being 40.
Stephen, the knowledge that we have now compared to when we were 20, compared to when we were 15, compared to when we were 8, and I don't mean you and I mean all of us, if we can see the growth that we've already had, my God, the next 40 years is going to be so much more exciting. The next 40 years is going to be amazing if we continue to grow, if we continue to contribute. Any more questions?
No, sorry, I'm just like, whoa, I'm away somewhere else here. Just a few statements. So we've got Jen, love this.
Oh, thanks, Jay.
It definitely is. Defo. Love this. Nicola Henderson, love this. So powerful. Nicola is here. Yay. Kerry, definitely. Kelly Easton is saying James always gives us mind-blowing statements.
Oh, thanks.
Absolutely does.
Thank you, Kelly. That's so kind.
It's official. I love James Hughes.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Funny,
Love yourself first and then love me afterwards, please.
James was on our meditation teachers. He was doing a wee bit of work for me on Monday, just helping me with our new meditation teachers. Diane was actually there. Diane's going to be one of our tutors, which is great.
Fab.
It was like the James Hughes fan club in there on Monday night. Honestly, they were like, "Stephen, is he single?" And I was like, "No." I'm really sorry to tell you, but his partner's male. And they're like, "What next ones are gay or married?" So honestly, it was like the James Hughes fan club. It was hilarious. They just loved your energy.
Thank you.
Diane, hands in the air. Nicola, guys, the 40s are the best. I love being this age. Yes.
Well, Nicola has changed her life dramatically since turning 40 in every way possible.
I would never have said Nicola was 40, actually. I'm quite surprised by that. I thought she would be a bit younger than that. A few years.
She's actually 63.
Wow. She looks good for it, you know. She really does.
Facelifts and a bulldog clip at the back of the head, pulling it all back.
Aye, you're going to get a wee message after this. Gillian saying only managing to dip in and out of this, really hoping it's recorded as I need to hear it all. It absolutely is, Gillian.
Thanks, Gillian.
You can access this straight after on YouTube or on Facebook. Jackie is saying here, morning, this is so uplifting. I'm 52 and need this.
Jackie, I always think of the Sex and the City moment. Do you remember when Samantha, I don't know if he's watched Sex and the City, but she's in the shop, she's buying the dress for the movie with Miley Cyrus, and she goes, I'm 52 and I'm fabulous. That's the attitude you should have. That is it. 52 and fabulous, Jackie.
I've never seen it, but yeah, I'll take it. I love this. Bond saying, Kelly is saying it's like the James Hughes fan club here. And Nicola, I love you, Stephen. I'm guessing that's because I said that I thought she was a few years old. I'm interested, Nicola. What do you think of James now that he said you're 62 and you've got a bulldog clip to pull back on the loose skin?
Oh, that's lovely.
And do you know what? That's us at time already.
Oh, Stephen.
What a high energy surgery today. I've really, really loved that, James.
Thank you.
Diane saying first time I've caught the wedding.
Oh, thanks, Diane. You'll be saying that next week, Diane.
I think from everything that we've spoken about today, the massive takeaway that I'm taking, I don't know about anybody else, please put it in the comments so we can keep reading and keep seeing your comments. And that is number 5 of those 6 human needs, which is if you aren't growing, you're dying. I'm using that emoji, you know, the emoji with the blown head.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Vaughn saying that she's dreading being 40. Do not dread it.
Oh my God, Vaughn, don't dread it. Absolutely not. Why would you dread it? So lucky to be here. So lucky to experience it.
I think 40 sounds really young though, doesn't it?
I think 40 is quite a cool age. I think I'm going to take myself a bit more serious when I turn 40.
Life begins at 40. I think your 30s is all about developing who you are as a person. Your 20s is just a bit of a fuck up, isn't it? You know, your 20s, you're like, way! Let's scrape through life. Then you get to your 30s and you're developing and you're changing and you're moving yourself forward. And then 40, I would imagine that everything starts to just turn and be amazing at 40.
Well, it is amazing. It's already amazing right now. It just gets more amazing.
Great. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for everything. And James, again, thank you so much for coming along today. And yeah, I think it's safe to say that they'll want you back next Wednesday. So
I'll be back next Wednesday.
If you want to, that is, you might decide, actually, no, I didn't want to come back.
No, I do want to come back. I really enjoy this.
Good. So that's us for today, guys. Tomorrow, just so you're all aware, tomorrow we have the very lovely Zoe Todd on from the Heart and Soul Centre in Dunfermline. So, sorry, I've got a child having a bit of a scream down back there. Can you hear him?
No, really, actually.
So yeah, we've got Zoe on tomorrow, and she's going to be talking about all the things that she's doing through lockdown. Now, Zoe does have a shop that's similar to ours, actually. She's a spiritual shop in Dunfermline. Kinross it is, actually. It's not Dunfermline. I'll get in trouble for saying that. It's in Fife, so, you know, it's all the same in Fife, isn't it? The kingdom, I suppose they call it. I'm going to have to be really careful. I'm going to get battered here for saying these things. But Zoe's on tomorrow. She's been doing Zumba classes. She's been doing meditation. She's been doing loads of amazing things through lockdown to help people. And she is really a lovely, inspiring lady. So come along tomorrow and you can hear all about Zoe's business over there in Kinross. And thank you, Kelly, for keeping me right on where she is. That's so bad. So take care, everybody. We shall see you tomorrow. And James, we shall see you next week.
Absolutely.
Hold on for 30 seconds as well, just so I can say goodbye to you. And I'll make sure that I end the broadcast, because yesterday, for whatever reason, we came off the live feed and we were still live when Joe and I were chatting afterwards. It was you know, it's nothing that we wouldn't broadcast anyway, you know. But it was really funny. It's like the outtakes after. Joe was like, oh my God, was that complete fanny? We were fine. Anyway, take care, and we shall see you next week with Mr. Hughes from James Hughes Coaching.
Bye, guys. Have a good Wednesday.
Bye.
Strong.